How you doing, YouTube? I'm the Base Soldier 17, and that is my base. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I recently enlisted in the U.S. Army. My MOS, which stands for Military Occupational Specialty Code, is 13 Bravo. That's Field Artillery. That camouflage you see over there is airsoft stuff, as well as that airsoft gun, not an actual weapon. Don't freak out. I made this channel for basically two reasons. One, to give myself something to look at the end of my enlistment, 3 years and 17 weeks from March 31st, 2010. To give myself, see how I progressed as a soldier, as a musician, as a bass player, and as just me in general. The second reason is to give you guys a perspective on, you know, a soldier's life and a musician's life. I just want to help dispel some of that bullshit that surrounds the military in general and going in. Let me start with my experiences so far. Personally, for me, what I did was I went into the local recruiting office and I checked out the Marines and the Army. At the end of the day, I settled on the Army. Asked a bunch of important questions, personal to me, like about the GI Bill, which is very important to be knowledgeable about. MOS's, jobs you can have in the military, what does it entail, how long would my commitment be, such and such forth. Never be afraid to ask questions that you're not sure about. Things you don't really understand. Don't be afraid. That's what the recruiter's there for. The best advice: keep your ears open. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And promises aren't that great if they're not on paper. Just common sense stuff that you should expect going in. Once you get in there, first of all, let me tell you, there's no trick way to join the army. You can't just be sitting in the recruiter's office and he's like, "Oh, just sign this and we'll send you a free, T-shirt. Just give me your address and your number." No, he can't get your signature on something and automatically you're signed in. There's a long and painstaking process before you can really sign off and say, "Okay, I am the U.S. Army property for X amount of time." You know, so just to get out of the way, if you do give them your name and number, they're going to contact you. Obviously, they got to make numbers, but just make sure it's something that you really want to think about. Remember, get all your questions answered, and don't be swayed. There's this thing called an ASVAB, which I can't recall what that stands for. I'll look it up and put it down here. That's harder to do than I thought. Basically, it's a test about all. It's a test about your entire general knowledge. I mean, it ranges from math, writing, to shop, mechanical workings, a whole bunch of stuff, computer technology, just general range of knowledge, mechanics, all that. The higher you score on the ASVAB, the more jobs will be available to you. If you take the ASVAB, that's the point where you have to start considering, okay, am I really going to do this? At the end of the day, all the advice that comes to you from all sides, your family, your friends, the recruiter, other soldiers, it boils down to what you think and what you want to do. After the ASVAB, and let's say you're going to continue on this path, you go back to the recruiter and you say, all right, I want to be a soldier. So it'll take you through. You got a lot of papers to sign. Papers, 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 man. Let me tell you, you can put your John Hancock on a million papers. But read them. Read everything put your way. After that, they're going to set you up for MEPS, Military Entrance Processing Building. They check you out physically. Really, the only thing that stops you after that point is if you don't make height and weight requirements. There's certain, if you're this tall, you have to be, this certain weight. If you don't pass that, then you have to fix yourself before you take off to training. That's the only thing that will stop you. And it's a pain in the ass, but that's really the only thing. The physical test I was speaking of earlier, it's X amount of push-ups, X amount of sit-ups in 2 minutes time, I believe, for both, and then 2 miles in for 100 perfect 100, it's like 11 minutes and 30 seconds, and then for like a 70, it's like 15 minutes. you know, work as hard as you can, exercise, work out, get yourself ready, make it easier for you. But if you don't fail, they do work with you. I'm sure once you get to basic, they just make you work harder and exercise harder, which may or may not be something you want to do. So yeah, right now I'm still playing the waiting game. I'm running, exercising as much as I can, playing my bass as much as I can, and that's all for now. Catch you later, YouTube.